Well, good morning, good afternoon for those joining us so far. My name's Jonathan. I'll be running through today's demonstration on content looking in Gomo and how you can use display conditions to achieve that. We'll just wait for a few more people to join. Obviously, we've got a few minutes till we're due to kick off, so feel free to ask questions in the question panel if you had any before we get started, but otherwise I'll be back with you in just a few moments. Welcome, Rebecca. I can see that you've just joined. We're just waiting. Sorry, my name's Jonathan. We're just waiting on a few more people just to join the session, then we'll get started. So just bear with me just for a few moments, and then we'll make a start on how content looking works in Gomo. Thanks, Rebecca. Just give it a few more moments. We did have around 20 people registered. We're not quite there yet, so we're just, as I said, give that a few moments just to let people join. Okay, so what I'll do then is I'll make a start, and obviously I can very quickly go back over anything if anyone else joins. So thank you for joining. As I said earlier on, this is just a quick call then just to run through display conditions in Gomo and how those work and how those can be used to assign sort of routes through the course, or screen locking as it's also described. So we are still having a couple of people join us, but I will make a start. And so as I said then, today's session really is to look at display conditions in Gomo and how those work. And so what I've done is I've just opened up a general course, so just so we have a starting point to work on, and we can start to talk firstly about what display conditions are and how they work, and then move on to content locking, firstly locking screens, and then actually locking topics within the course to sequence the user through those topics. If you do have any questions as we go through, there is a question panel in the right-hand side, so please do ask your questions, and I'll do my best to answer them as we go through. Okay then, so looking first at what display conditions are in Gomo. Display conditions are a really simple technique in Gomo to allow you to show and hide different information based on a number of different factors that you may use. And so if I just go into the first content topic, I'll do a really simple example of a sort of one type of display condition, which would be perhaps based on the device type that your learner is engaging on. And so it may be, for example, that you've got a really high quality image that you've got from your marketing team. And from there, you may find that especially if the image has got text within it, that perhaps, although obviously Gomo is responsive by nature, that it won't display fully on a mobile device, or perhaps the image is just too high quality to load fully. And so one example may be that you want to replace the image that you're loading for desktop users and perhaps users on a tablet to say, if they're on a mobile device, show them something different instead. And so I'm just very simply going to bring in a video as well, just so we've got on this page one image and one video. And now what I'm going to do, if I can just minimize this control panel here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say to the system that I want to display the image for all users that are accessing on a desktop and use the video for users that aren't on a desktop. And so the way I would do this is I would select my image. I would scroll down on the right-hand side in the properties to the display conditions option. And display conditions, there are a number of factors that you can use that are predetermined within the course. So things like the language that the user's engaging with, the device type, obviously I've mentioned, whether they've passed or failed a particular assessment, all kinds of things that you can use to show and hide information. So for this very simple example, I'm just going to say for the device type being equal to desktop, then it's going to show my image. And if not, I'm going to replace that image with a video for all users that are engaging on a mobile device of some kind, whether that's a tablet or a mobile phone. And so again, really, really simple, doing exactly the same thing on this one. I could either say display this if the device type is equal to a smartphone, or I can just say if it's not equal to a desktop in that case. And what that will do, if I save that and just generate the preview of this screen, what that's going to do is, as I said, based on the device type, it's automatically going to show the relevant asset for you. And obviously this is quite a simple example to run through, but it gives you a lot more flexibility on not only the content that you display on any given page, but also as we come on to the order in which users engage with the content as they're going through. I will just be previewing a few times. You'll have to bear with me while this loads. It is a new project, so we'll just take a moment to work through. But as I said, display conditions coupled with other techniques in Gomo give you a lot more flexibility. So this simple example is just going to illustrate how you can use device type display conditions to change what assets are displayed. But hopefully that gives you an idea of how the technique works very simply before we go on to show how that would work with locking. And so it's loaded the preview now. You can see we're looking at it in the desktop view, so you can see my image. There's no video underneath, so the learner can't tell that there's another asset that's been hidden from them, but it would automatically change. If I was to change this to a mobile device, for example, you can see the image disappears and is automatically replaced by my video. And so a really simple technique, as I said, just to allow you to choose what's displaying based on a number of different factors, in this case, the device type that the learner's engaging on. And so that's as I said, one of the simplest examples I can give on how display conditions work and what they're actually doing in Gomo. And it really is exactly what it says on the tin. You're saying only display this asset if the following condition is true. And so moving on then to screen locking and how you can use that technique to ensure that a learner engages with all of the topic on all of the content on any particular screen. I'll just go into topic 2, and what I've done is I've just dropped in here 2 screens, and on the first screen I've got an accordion asset. And you can do exactly the same technique with any of our other assets. So it could be a video, for example, and you want to make sure that the user engages with the whole video before moving on. But in this case, rather than applying a display condition to one of the actual assets, what we're going to say is we don't want the user to be able to move past this screen until they've engaged fully with the accordion asset. So in this asset, there's 3 different steps. They're going to have to open all of those in order to move on to the next screen. And the way that you would do that is using, again, display conditions. But this time, rather than display conditions for any particular object, we're going to go into the navigation and tracking down on the right-hand side. And this is where you'll find your next button and your back button, and where you can configure where those will actually take the user when they click on them. But what we're going to do is we're going to use a display condition in here called screen status. And essentially what we're saying is you have to complete the screen that you're on in order to move on to the next one. So I'm applying a display condition to the next button so that the next button to move to the next screen won't load until, in this case, the screen status of the screen that I'm on, which is screen 1, is complete. And so what that's going to do is it's going to mean, and as I'll show you in the preview in a moment, it's going to mean that the user has to fully engage with everything that's on this screen in order to move on. And obviously that can be really useful, especially if you do have multiple assets on the screen, just to make sure that the user has engaged fully with all of the content before they move on to the next topic or the next screen. Again, we'll just bear with me 1 second while that previews. So you can see here where we would usually have a next button on the right hand side, there's currently nothing. If I do engage with all of the different assets, so in this case, each step of the accordion asset I've got here, you can see that the next button now appears to allow me to move to the next screen. And so again, that can be used in a few different ways. Sort of just another example of how that would work would be to change this to a video. And I'm not going to go through the whole process again, but just to show you what you could potentially do as well with a video, is obviously if I add a video into this screen, they're going to have to finish that video due to my display condition on the next button in order to move to the next screen. But just an extra technique that you can use in there is to actually do things like remove the ability to play and pause your video, remove the progress bar so they can't scroll through the video, so that they don't just slide to the end of the video and then proceed afterwards. But again, it's doing exactly the same thing. It's essentially saying you have to have completed every asset on the screen in order to move on. And so hopefully quite another simple example there, but illustrates how you can control the user's journey through the course when it comes to the screens to make sure that they have interacted with every asset on any given screen. What I'm just going to do though, is I'm actually just for my final example on how we can lock topics, I'm actually just going to remove that display condition just so it doesn't get in my way later on. Okay, and I'll save that. And so that's how you would lock content on any given screen. But in Gomo, you have more power than that. So quite commonly, it would be that users would like to, for example, lock certain topics to ensure that users go through preceding topics first. So to sequence your topics. So for example, to say you have to do topic 1 first, then topic 2, and then topic 3 finally. And the way that you would do that in Gomo is using your menu buttons. So I'm actually going to go into the menu in here. But again, we're going to be using a very similar technique. We're going to be using display conditions. I can show you a few different options and how that would look for you. And so the first example would be really simple. So I want the user to see content topic 1 first, and then once they've completed that, unlock content topic 2, and then likewise topic 3. And the way that you would do that is to select the menu button for your second topic. And again, you can add display conditions to that. And so the display condition I would use in this case is topic completion. And so in order for topic 2 to be visible, you have to have completed topic 1. So the completion of topic 1 needs to be true. And I'll do exactly the same thing for topic 3, just to say, again, if you're going to complete topic 3, you have to have done the second topic first. So again, topic completion for topic 2 is true. And so that's, again, really simple to apply, but one slight potential problem, depending on how you want to configure your course with this, is that it's not going to show the user that there are extra topics available once they first enter the course. So they're going to come to the menu and they're just going to see the one content topic, and they'll have to complete that topic for the menu button for topic 2 to even be visible. And so you can see here just the one topic. If I go into that and proceed through the screens and then go back to the menu, you can see the content topic 2 is now visible and unlocked. And likewise, if I do exactly the same thing in topic 2, I can go back and it's unlocked topic 3 for me. And that might be fine for you, that might be absolutely fine, but there are techniques that you can use to add what we would call sort of dummy menu buttons so that the user is aware that there are extra topics, but those are locked at the moment before they've completed the first topic. And the way that you do that is really, really simple. So if I close my preview again and just go back. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in 2 more menu buttons. And I don't need to actually link these to the topics. These buttons aren't actually going to do anything, but they're just there to let the user know that there's more interactions to come. And so if I can find a menu button, where am I? There you go, sorry, going blind. Okay, so what I would do is I would add in 2 more menu buttons in here. And I'm just going to name these. I'm just going to copy the text from that. I'm just going to name these content topic 2 locked and content topic 3 locked, just so it's really clear for the user that they can't access those straight away. And I've already got my display conditions on my content topic 2 and my content topic 3. So I just need to add very similar display conditions to these, just to say it's display this content topic 2 locked button if the topic completion for topic 1 is false. So in this case, just doing the exact reverse for what I did on the content topic 2. So content topic 1 is true for the button, and for this button to say only display the locked button if they haven't completed topic 2. So again, topic completion for topic 2 is false. And so that will then, once I save and preview that, will give the user the knowledge that there are additional topics that they need to go through once they've completed the first topic. But again, they won't be able to access those until they've done so. So again, really simple example, but just shows how you can have those buttons visible, even if you do want to lock the topic using display conditions. So again, in the preview here, we can see when it loads, we've got our content topic 1, 2 topics locked. When I click on these, nothing happens because there's no actions associated with them. So again, as I go through and complete the first topic, which is only 2 screens, which is handy, you can see that content topic 2 locked has disappeared and it's been replaced with the actual openable content topic 2, where I can actually scroll through and see the content. So again, just a nice technique to allow you to have the visibility of the different topics that are going to be in the course, but again, still illustrating how you can lock the content to make sure that they go through those in sequential order. Finally then, the last thing I wanted to show you is just another example of how you can use the sort of the logic of the display conditions to configure the course menu how you'd want it to be. And it may be actually that you don't necessarily need them to go to content topic 1 before content topic 2. But if this was an assessment at the end, you just make sure that they've been through both of these topics before they go into the third topic. And that's where we're going to introduce the sort of the and or logic for the display conditions. So we can add multiple display conditions and say they either both need to be true or either one of them needs to be true to break that condition. And so the way that you do that, excuse me, is to say, perhaps I don't need this button because, as I said, I don't particularly mind which order they go into the first 2 topics, so I can hide that. I'll just get rid of it. I'm also going to remove the display condition from my second button, just so that, again, both of those are visible straight away. And then what I would need to do is have the display conditions in here, and I'm just going to delete them so it's nice and obvious where we're starting with, to say, oh, display this if the topic completion for topic 1 is false, the topic completion for topic 2 is false. And so obviously, if the user then completed topic 1, this would disappear because at the moment, if either of these conditions are true, then it will automatically remove the display condition because, again, we're using the all setting. So it's saying only display this if this and this are true, not or. But you can change that by changing the all to any. And so what that means is that if either of these are true, then it won't display it will display the content topic locked. Whereas if I do the exact opposite for my actual button, so again, exactly the same, topic completion for topic 1 is true, topic completion for topic 2 is true. And again, in this case, we actually want it to be all rather than or. So again, in this case, we're saying both of these conditions need to be true rather than just either of them. And what that will do is it will mean that the topic 3 locked button will stay in sight even after I've completed topic 1 until I've completed topic 2 as well, at which point content topic 3 would be unlocked. So again, this would be most useful if you did want to have the user go through your content topics without going into perhaps your assessment at the end, but you don't necessarily care which order they go into the first 2 topics in. So you can see here, you've got our topic 3 locked. If I go through and complete the first topic, and then go back to my menu, it's still locked because I haven't yet completed the second topic, and I could have gone into either of those in either order. And again, as I proceed through and complete topic 2, it would finally unlock topic 3 for me. And so hopefully that's given you an idea of sort of the different techniques and sort of functionality available in Gomo to allow you to not only show and hide information on any given screen based on a number of different factors, but also using topic completion as the display condition to allow you to choose the route that the learner goes through your course, not necessarily going just into any topic that they want in any order. You can either sequence them to make sure that they go into individual ones, or you can, as I said, with the final example, you can just say that we need access. Okay. Got a couple of questions. Let me just see if I can open that panel out a bit just so I can read that. Okay. So I've got a couple of questions there. We've obviously got a question here just asking to go into more depth for specific features. Again, the sort of the same technique would apply for all of the different assets within Gomo. So just if you could add a bit of clarity there into sort of any specific features you were hoping to see in this, I'd be happy to run through an example. For instance, locking buttons on a page. And so again, for that exact, for the sort of what I've just done there, the example there for the menu buttons was obviously locking buttons on a specific page. You can do that with any of the different buttons. And so you have a video on the page that you want to lock the button. Sorry, I've got a very small panel here to try and read the question, so I'm trying to see. Okay, so I'll do the video example just as a quick example so that you can see exactly how that works. Again, the reason I tend not to do this example when I'm previewing is just because I'll actually have to watch the whole video to show that it's working. But I can show you again just how that would work. So if I go into content topic 1, I'm just going to delete the content that's in here and just start again. And so just completely delete this and add 2 new screens so that I do have a second screen to proceed to. And so if I added a video into this screen, again, I'm using exactly the same condition for display conditions to make sure that the user watches the whole video before they can move to the next screen. And so again, I would be using the display conditions for my next button, first of all, to say, once again, only show the button to move to the next page if the display condition for screen status is complete. And so the video has to be fully completed before the user can move on. So that's the first step there. But at the moment, the user would have the control just to scroll through to the end of the video, as I mentioned earlier on. So I can actually remove that option. So I'll remove the progress bar there so they can't scroll through the video. And that's it. That's all the steps that you would need to do. And I could easily have done that exact same thing to say, I don't want to have a next button at all. So in actual fact, I could just remove, oh, excuse me, sorry, that's the wrong one. So I could just remove the next button completely by just unclicking shown there, and then you could use a normal button or a menu button, whatever button you wanted to proceed through the course, and just do exactly the same thing. So display conditions only if the particular asset is complete or if the screen's been completed. And so once you've done that, save that first and let it preview. I've turned off the ability to scroll through the video. I've also turned off the next button so that it won't appear so that it won't appear until the screen status is complete. I've just seen the question, what does screen status mean? And screen status literally means that all of the assets on any, for the screen status to be complete, all of the individual assets on any given screen would need to be completed, so to be engaged with. So in the example I gave earlier, where it was the accordion, you'd have to click on each step of the accordion to work through that. In this case, where it's a video, you'd have to watch to the end of the video to do that. And it could be that I've got multiple assets on the screen. You would have to engage fully with all of them in order for the screen status to be complete. So here's my preview. So I can start my video. Obviously you can trigger that to autoplay. I didn't. You can see I've removed the option here to scroll through the video. And so my next button won't actually appear at all until the whole video is completed. And so given that it's a sort of a 3-minute long video there, I won't wait for that to finish before I'm moving on. But you can imagine, look, as soon as this video finishes, the next button will appear and that will allow the user to move on to the next screen. So again, it's a very similar technique. It's just how you apply display conditions. So whether you're using display conditions to hide an asset, your next button, or one of your menu buttons in your menu, it's the same technique. You just need to say, what reason is it that image or the video or the button is going to display. And so in this case, the condition is that they have to have completed the full video or the full screen to move on to the next screen. Hopefully that answers your questions, Rebecca. Please do ask if you want additional clarity. Again, I'm just trying to open up the the question panel, but I can see one line of the questions at a time, so I'm sorry if I've missed one. I think that's the last question I can see in here, was about screen status. And did anyone have any other questions that they wanted to pop into the question panel? No? Okay, so well, as I said, that was just a short run through of the use of display conditions to lock content. Of course, if you do have any questions, please do get in touch with us. We're happy to answer those questions either in a support ticket if you are an existing client, or if you're a prospective client, do reach out. We'll be happy to discuss how that works and how you can use that in your training that you create in Gomo. But that will bring an end to this week's session. I hope that's been useful for you. Again, we do weekly sessions on different topics, so please do feel free to dip in and out of those as you find them useful. We're always happy to answer additional questions after the fact if you wanted to take the conversation offline and just drop an email through or reach out on our contact form. Okay. So again, thanks everyone for attending. I'm going to call the webinar to an end now if there's no more questions. So yeah, take care and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day. Thanks very much.